So this is the video on the completer's report, not the completer's report you may get requested by IR for the Board of Regents, but this is the completer's report that you provide to NSC, National Student Clearinghouse, so that all of your enrollment verifications can go through them. So you should never ever be providing a student or an employer with with completer verification information. You should drive them to the NSC site. They're the third party that handles this for us, and your college does earn funds from the degree verifications that are complete via the National Student Clearinghouse site. Now, before I start showing you how to run the report, the one thing I want to make sure that you know is how often should you submit it. So you can submit your completer's report as often as you would like. You should submit the report at the end of each term after completer information has been entered into Banner. However, note that if you submitted the report and then realize not all the completers for that term had been entered, you can submit the file again. And then also periodically you're going to want to resubmit files for past terms, because if a student has a hold that prevents you from giving that degree information to NSC when you're submitting that file, but they get that hold release, then you want to get that degree information to them. Because the more degree information NSC has in their system, the less manual work it becomes on the college. Because if your college doesn't give them all the degrees, then the person, a student, employer requests the information and NSC doesn't have it, then an email goes to the college, whoever at your college is responsible for this, and they have to find the completer information and manually enter it into the system. So the more information you can give them, the better. So just remember that. Don't be afraid to submit that file as often as you need to. So to run the completer's report, you would go to SHRDEGV and hit enter. Now remember, we're going to run it once for our error file and then once for our real file. So for this time, I'm going to show you how to run it to check see if you have any errors. So you access the form or the job, you select to go, and then you do a next section, and then you enter in your parameters. So I'm going to run it for one term, but I do want you to note that you can run it for all terms. If you want to run it for all terms, you would just put a % sign there. And that's what you should do when you're trying to submit all of those degrees that couldn't be submitted because they had an AR hold, where you're trying to submit them now that they don't have an AR hold. You can do a % sign in your term. But I'm just going to run it for 2018-10. And then right here in parameter 2, you have to put all awarding codes that your college would use. So any record on SHRDEGV that would equate that the student has earned a credential, earned an exit, you would then need to enter that here. So you'll notice that I've already done it twice, but I'm going to need a third one. So I just highlight the row, I select insert record, I type in 02, it automatically populated, and I add the code TC, okay? But I know there's another code my college uses as well, so I'm going to insert again. I'm going to type in 02, and it automatically tabs over, and I'm going to type in AT, and then there's one more my college uses. AT may not exist in conversion. We'll try AA. AA did. Okay, let me try one more time. I thought AT existed, but it may not. So I'm going to try one more time. It exists in production, and I'm testing an old system. No, it doesn't. Okay, and that's okay. That just means I'm in conversion, and it hasn't been built in conversion yet. But make sure, the whole purpose of me entering all these is that you need to enter every single code that your college uses that says a degree has been awarded. And we do use multiple codes. So make sure you have that exhausted list and you're using it. In parameter number 3, you're really just putting a name. So I can put fall 2018 It's whatever you want to name that degree period that you're reporting. When I ran it for all terms, I just called that all terms. Your run mode's going to be a 1 because we're running it for the errors first, so it's going to be a 1. And then sort is 3. And then you get to number 6, which is the hold codes. And you need to insert every single hold code that would prevent a student from getting their grades or graduation degrees. That means they owe the college money. And we have several of those. We actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We currently have 11 holds that can prevent a student from getting their degree information. So I'm going to insert, I'm going to do 06, and I'm going to put in each one. So we got AR, I'm going to insert, I'm going to do 06, and I'm going to put in FH, I'm going to insert 06, and I'm going to put in LF, insert 06, PF, insert 06, BS, insert 06, TF, insert 06, CL, insert 06, TR, insert 06, WO is already there, so PD, insert 06, CI. So every hold code within our system that has to deal with a student owing a college money has now been entered. And note, whether your college uses that hold code or not, it has to be inserted because we honor the codes across all colleges. Now, because it took me so much time to set up this one, I'm going to go ahead and perform a next section, and I'm going to click Save Parameters Set As. So it's going to save everything I just entered. So next time I access it, I'm just going to have to change the run mode to the report mode because everything else would stay the same. And then I'm going to select Save. Now I'm going to go ahead. You're going to want to view the output. So you select the Related, Review Outputs, and then you're going to double click next to the file name. Okay, so now we have the .list and the .log file. I'm going to double click on the .list file, and what it's showing me is this is not an error. It's just telling me that these students have holds, so their information will not be in the report because they have one or more of the hold code types that you entered. So we cannot release these students' degree information. If they would ask for degree information or NSC would send us a request, we could not honor the request until the student dealt with the hold that is on their account. Once that hold was released, then we could release the degree information. So this error report really had nothing for me to fix. It just showed me that these students have holds so that their data will not get reported. So now that I've looked at that, I'm going to start over to look at, I'm going to run my actual report. But before I do that, I do want to teach you how to extract this data. So, because if it's a lot of data, it may be hard to read in this file, depending on the size of your population. So if you want to extract it, you would select Tools, and you would select Show Document, Save and Print, and then you would say Save, and then at the bottom the pop-up would open and you're going to say Open, and notice this is hard to read. This is a hot mess. So this is not where I would try to read any of the data. So I'm going to click in the file, and then on my keyboard I'll do Control-A to highlight all data, and then Control-C to copy it. Then I'm going to open an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to click Control V, and it's going to copy the information into the Excel spreadsheet. So this makes it a lot easier to read if you have a lot of data you need to look through. So just wanted to show you that so that you were aware that that is an option, and the directions on how to do that is in the workbook. Now, now that I've run my error report and I don't have any errors, I'm going to go back and I'm now going to run my my report that I'm going to be submitting. So you see when I said start over, it brings me here, but it's in the output view. You have to hit the X button, and then it's going to bring you back into the job. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and select go again, and then I'm going to select next section. And because I saved my parameter sets, there's only one thing that I actually need to do, and that is I need to change the run mode code. So when you're running it to run your report, parameter number 4 needs to be a 3. Okay, that's the only thing you would change. So once I enter in that, I'm going to perform the next section, and then I'm going to hit save. And now my report is getting created. So you want to pay attention to the log number up here. You may need that. I typically can go on the server and I just query by the date, and it's going to bring that to the top. So I don't panic over knowing that number, but some people like knowing that number. Because what you're going to go onto the server, the Banner server, is to do is look for this file right here with this number, but it ends in .dat. So now we have to log into what's called the Banner server, and I've already logged in, so I'm in the server, and I'm actually in Suella. So I'm just going to hit the refresh button to bring that file to the top that I just ran. So just an FYI, make sure that you don't have a file that's called .shell, S-H-L. If you have a .shl file, that means that the job is still running and the file is not complete. When that .shl disappears, that means the file is complete. So if I double click on the .dat, you'll see this is the information that we're actually going to report to the clearinghouse. So you would take that file, you click on it, and you would find where you want to put it on your folders. I'm working on Suella, so I'm going to put it in the Suella folder. So I would simply just click on it, right click on it, and drag it over. And now it's going to be in my folders. It's going to be over here on this side. So now I'm able to log on to the clearinghouse, and I don't know everything about the clearinghouse because that's really not my area. I've never done it. But I've spoken to a few people, and they've kind of given me some generic information. You would log on to the NSC website. You enter your username and password, and your username is your FICA code, which most of us call it the OPID code. And the password was given to someone at your college. So the last person doing this job would know the password, and if they're not there anymore, you can't get it from them. That's when you would contact your representative at NSC, and they would help you with that password. Once you get that password, you would log on, and if you've never loaded files before, you have to download their NSLC wizard on the website, and then once you do that, it'll give you step-by-step directions on how to submit your file. If you encounter any problems at this point, that's when you would definitely contact your representative at NSC. They're the ones who would give you more guidelines on how to actually get that file submitted to them.